Okay, thank you. My name is Vidushi Dyall, and on behalf of Chamber of Progress, a tech industry association supporting public policies to benefit people with technological advances, I'm here to express respectful opposition specifically to just A4015. We recognize the efforts to address harm to minors, and we also remain committed to advocating for policies that prioritize online safety for young people. But we're here to say that it's also critical to safeguard fundamental human rights, such as freedom of speech, and we are concerned about the potential harm and unintended consequences that may befall New Jersey's youth. Online services are increasingly designing teen-specific experiences that rely on personalization and ranking systems to make content more age-appropriate. Platforms use algorithms to filter, prioritize, and recommend content in ways that can reduce exposure to harmful material and better match developmental needs. But A4015 would significantly restrict the ability of platforms to select, recommend, and prioritize media for minors unless it's based on narrow, explicit user actions. In practice, a youth who is being bullied or dealing with an isolating environment with no community would have a similar experience online. They may just be faced with a chronological feed mirroring their current environment versus finding new communities and new content that aligns with their interests and provides safe spaces. The Assemblywoman said that this bill is not intended to restrict connection, but as written, it could do just that. I'd like to point your attention to a common sense media survey of teens and young adults aged 14 to 22, where respondents said they found most value from algorithmic curation for their social media feeds because it allowed them to shape their online experience. 76% of respondents actively used tools to filter out unwanted content. 67% curated their feeds by engaging with content that aligned with their interests. And specifically, LGBTQ youth were even more proactive, with 90% avoiding dislike content. Young people with moderate to severe depressive symptoms were also more likely to curate their feeds. 90% filtered out dislike content, and 81% tailored their feeds. According to Common Sense Media, these curation practices are vital for helping teens build healthier, more supportive online environments. But limiting young people's access to social media could create more risks than protections, especially for those who are seeking connection and resources the most. Research shows that social media provides critical support for at-risk youth and those facing adversity. According to the American Psychological Association, online interactions were particularly beneficial for youth during periods of social isolation, when experiencing stress, and when seeking connection to peers with similar developmental or health conditions. We'd like to call your attention to similar legislative efforts that were aimed at restricting minors' access to protected speech that have been met with judicial skepticism. Currently, bellwether trials are playing out across the country tackling social media addiction, and the issue is not well settled. Courts have consistently demanded a compelling justification for such measures. So we caution the committee that similar laws have already failed in states like Texas, Maryland, and California, as they've been struck down in court, as courts have reaffirmed that First Amendment protects individuals regardless of age in their right to access lawful expression. For those reasons, I respectfully urge you to oppose A4015. While protecting young people online is essential, this bill would restrict access to supportive digital communities, chill innovation, and restrict speech. Thank you for your time.
Thank you. Any questions from the committee? Sure.
Thank you for your testimony. So just a simple question to start with. Are there any addictive features by design that these platforms have?
I don't disagree with testimony that's come out about certain features that might incentivize prolonged use. And I'd also like to call out other features that we also support, such as taking a pause when scrolling on a feed, or being redirected to mental health tools such as hotlines. So I do think that some features are more harmful than others, and some combat prolonged use that this committee might be concerned with.
Okay, so I mean, everything's stemming from the fact that the kids are finding themselves addicted. We are finding our kids addictive. We as adults are finding ourselves addicted to all of these features by design that happen to be on all these platforms. You mentioned in your testimony that the users are able to curate their own content. They're able to tailor to their need, right? If I'm an addictive person, what are the guardrails that are there that would, why would I want to curate my content? If I'm an addictive person, you already have me hooked in. You got me hooked into your content, into your platform. I'm going to ignore all those features that you have. So that's the after the fact, right? That would work for me if I was, going in the whole idea that I'm not going to get addicted. But we're here because of the addictive nature, and then what we are going to do about it. So do you have anything in your systems that they can identify that we have this user hooked up for this many hours a day, and now we're going to start the content that you mentioned, giving them some sort of outlook to, hey, maybe time to tone it down, or maybe stop the scrolling, or not going to give them the next rabbit hole to jump into, or mental health resources?
So I am not representing a tech company, and we actually do not represent any social media platform, so I don't have the backdoor information of what would be triggering things you've mentioned. I'm specifically talking about the way that 84015 is written, is that there's so much affirmative action required that if a youth is trying to access social media, they won't be able to find any recommendations and will just be confronted with a chronological feed. And for youth that are seeking community that they don't have in the real world, that could be harmful for them.
Okay. Anybody else?
I'm curious, do you support 4013, which is the bill that mandates black box warnings?
So I admittedly am filling in for a colleague who is covering the entire state. So I know that we've submitted written letters, but I'm just here to speak to this one bill.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else? Okay, thank you so much for your testimony.
Thank you.